Yeah, tell me when we're rolling. I'll get started then. Soon, I will feed you the world. Dude, you're supposed to tell me when we're rolling. Shut up. Hey guys, welcome to D20 Sundays. I'm your host as always, Ian, the part-time Dungeon Master. Welcome back. So, Sins of a Dungeon Master. There's no really right or wrong way to be a Dungeon Master. Well, I mean, there is. But a lot of people, as of late, on the subreddits for D&D, be it D&D, D&D Next, Dungeons and Dragons, Dungeons _ Dragons, D&D 5e, D&D Homebrew, Dungeon Masters, you name it. I mean, there's like at least 7 different subreddits that I've seen for Dungeons and Dragons. And one of the biggest questions I often see is, hey, I'm starting out as a new Dungeon Master. What are some things that I should avoid doing? Which, those are pretty normally easy to answer. And it's normally like stuff like player agency, be careful with that, make sure you're consistent on your rules, and so on. And then, sometimes it devolves into an argument of, you are doing it wrong. And while I hate to be that guy and kind of agree, at the same time, I disagree. And the reason being is, okay, so the whole point of Dungeons & Dragons is to have fun. Just have fun. Even if you mess up the rules, as long as you and your party are having fun, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. So, have fun. That's going to be the key things. The second key thing that many people are constantly saying that you're doing it wrong is when you mess up on rules. And then there's other weird things. It's like if you somehow kill the Tarrasque, you're doing it wrong. If you somehow kill Cthulhu, you're doing it wrong. And, I can understand to an extent those, because, those are supposed to be, world-ending things. There is no real surviving them, no matter what. Or at least that's how it's supposed to be. And then there's, some other stuff out there as far as, your players shouldn't be able to defeat the gods. But, some Dungeon Masters disagree and some Dungeon Masters agree. And I believe the whole idea of you're doing it wrong is very negative at times. And I've used it sometimes because it's been I kind of just stare at someone and it's like, you're doing it wrong. And the reason I would say that's okay, look, I understand you're trying to be very by the book, but you missed a few key things. Such as, expertise, You can only take the expertise feat once. You can only take any feat once. Just because you want to be an expertise in everything does not mean you can take expertise multiple times. Even if you take feats multiple times, you cannot take that one multiple times. Alright? Most feats you can only take once unless it say otherwise. And then there's, what was that other one? I just got talking to someone about it the other day. Expertise doesn't stack. You can get expertise from your class, such as rogues. They get expertise at, I want to say, 3rd and 6th level. And then you can take the expertise feat, but it doesn't matter. You cannot put all 3 into stealthing. It does not work that way. Expertise does not stack. You either not proficient in it, or you have expertise. That's it. And it doesn't go any higher than that. So, you can't be like, I have double expertise in stealth, so my stealth is a plus 18 at level 5. Or level 6. And it's like, no. You're doing it wrong. And I hate to say that, but it's according to the rules, you're doing it wrong. But then there's other moments where it's my player wants to actually be a monster creature in disguise. It's like, okay, what creature? Well, it's this creature. It's like a CR 14 creature. It's like, what level is the party? Oh, they're level 2. You're doing it wrong. And the reason being is because He's a CR-14 creature in reality, disguised as a level 2 adventurer. He can one-shot using his monster abilities and his monster skills and his monster strength. He can practically one-shot the party and whatever they're fighting at the moment. And it's just like, you're doing it wrong. And it's like one was like, he's actually this one diminutive CR7 creature that he's piloting the Warforged like a mech. I was like, okay, but why? Why would he pilot a mech that is like vastly weaker than he is? It makes no sense. You're doing it wrong. And like I said, at times I hate using that because it's like the whole point of Dungeons and Dragons is to have fun, but at the same time, there's some things that it's like do things within reason. I remember saying that in So You Want to Be a Dungeon Master and another DM video that I did, or Dungeon Master's Corner, where I said, be imaginative but within reason. Make something up, but within reason. You cannot be a Warforged that's actually being piloted by essentially, something the size of a dragon worm that's, I don't know, black dragon worm or something, wormling. It's like, no, it does not work. Or whatever. No. And I can understand wanting to do that because it's weird, it's different, and no one else has done it before. But the reason why no one has done it before because it just doesn't work. Because at any point you can just like bust out of the mech and be like, "Ha! I'm actually this." Excuse me. And the second you do that, you vilify yourself by the party because they're gonna be like, "We gotta kill you now." And two, because then you can just like one-shot everything that you're currently fighting if it was able to best your mech and beat up the crap out of your party members. So it's like, they'll be pissed at you for hiding that from them. It's like, you were this thing all along. You could have been like so helping us in like previous battles, man. Oh, there's another thing I remember of you're doing it wrong was a dungeon master that denied the rogue its bread and butter of sneak attack because it's like, well, they can see you. It's like, it doesn't matter. You're doing it wrong. Sneak attack says, like, whenever you have an advantage on your attacks, you get sneak attack. So, yeah. It's become, it's not as often as it used to be. At least I hope not. I haven't seen it as much as of late, but it has popped up here and there. The statement of, if you do this, you're doing it wrong. Because it's like, you have to do it absolutely by the book in no other way, or you have to do it in a way that makes sense to them. And it's like, that's not really what Dungeons and Dragons is about. It's about having fun. Sure, it's mindless shenanigans at times, but it's fun. And I mean, really, it's like, okay, so you have these things now. You have to balance them as a dungeon master because you have to sign off on every character sheet that your party, your players bring to you. And if you see one that's like, this is absurd. This is beyond absurd. This is just nonsense. You have the final door of saying yes or no. And I hate to say it, but at times I've looked at some of my dungeon masters and been like, you're doing it wrong by allowing this shenanigans. You're doing it wrong. But at the same time, I haven't done that as much as of late because it's mostly for fun and everything, and most of my dungeon masters have never let something too out there become a reality for the players to abuse. But yeah, don't worry about, the sins of a dungeon master. Don't worry about, the worst things that you could do as a dungeon master. Focus on having fun. Try and stay closely as to the rules as you possibly can. You'll do fine, And don't worry about if you're doing it wrong. Just Worry about having fun. Anyways, I'll catch you guys next time in D20 Sundays. Laters.